Still plenty of options, but it looks like they are looking for some core pickups now. Could always put that Leshrac in the core position as well and pick up another support. And of course, I mean, you wouldn't really want the Bane when you already have an AA. Doesn't really seem very suitable with this draft. What else could they grab though?
Dire team pick.
Oh,
Stands ready.
well, Superman himself comes out, John. The Sven,
Oh God. Oh.
Aghanim Scepter Sven is quite a sight to behold, and we haven't had the pleasure of seeing it in a pro game yet. I can only pray that we see it this time. But John, the Sven, it does seem quite powerful in this patch.
10
It's
seconds remaining.
A lot of the changes do kind of favor heroes that kind of fall back to that jungle, and Sven is one of those heroes, so he just manages to progress much better now because he does get bonus items as it goes along. We do see the same thing from Geek Fam. They go with the Venom themselves, and that's a hero that also enjoys the jungle, especially early on. It can just start out in the jungle straight away, come out of it pretty farmed up, and start pushing these towers. Along with the Void, you have a lot of damage in a wide area now. You have something that combines with that Chronosphere quite well. Both of the cooldowns kind of matching up, although I believe Venomancer's cooldowns are a bit longer. But you've got that tempo now for Geek Fam. The game plan is coming together for Geek Fam. They want to play around these big cooldowns, pressure objectives, and go back to farming, build up slowly but surely, and deny the map. Whereas Reality Rift, it still looks like they are going for that aggression early on with this kind of draft. Especially that Sven, I mean, he does take some time to farm up, but with his stun and his damage early on, he can be a menacing presence in these fights. So it is going to be an interesting clash of playstyles here for Geek Fam and Reality Rift in Game 2.
It certainly is. Of course, the final ban out's now coming out as well. Winter Wyvern was the ban from RR, which that's an interesting ban considering it would have been really well placed up against that Void, but I suppose they don't have the space for it. Of course, Geek Fam could have used the same thing up against the Sven, so it does make enough sense to ban it out.
10
Geek Fam, though.
seconds remaining.
One more ban for them.
5 seconds remaining.
I do believe Geek Fam will probably run that Jungle Venomancer we've been seeing from yesterday, but it seems like Reality Rift believe that they're going for another support. Unless they're assuming it's a core Wyvern, which I couldn't imagine, but you never really know. It is a new patch after all.
We've seen that a couple times before. I don't think they worked out in any case, but we have seen that, Mike.
There was one case back when we first started casting in a little tournament called Echo League, John. That was a long time ago.
I believe it worked out there, though. But
It
it is a different. That was a different time, Mike. A very different time.
The good old days.
Ah,
Geek Fam. 30 seconds reserve time left. And they'll keep ticking it down. I mean, RR, it's either a support or another core coming out. It's just a question of what the Leshrac's being placed in. I imagine they will run the position 4 Leshrac and just have another position 2, the mid lane. For the sign of the Radiant anyway. Oh, and there's the Meepo being banned out. Fair enough. Alacrity did play a pretty mean Meepo yesterday. Oh! Elder Titan pops out. Fair enough.
yeah. So Geek Fam is going all in on that Chronosphere, just maximizing the team fight potential they have with that spell. ET works quite well with that. You know, you already have the Kunkka and the Venomancer as well to deal that damage. So you've got really potent wombo combo from Geek Fam. They are going to have to ride around those cooldowns quite well, though. And it is a pretty massive cooldown now. We'll see how just how well they can run that. Again, we have seen them do this before, though, and Raven is almost always on point with his spell usage, so it's probably not going to be a big issue. It still does put a bit of a tempo to their aggression, whereas Reality Rift, they're still a bit more free to take these fights as they go. They do tie up their draft with the Necrophos as well, so you have a nice way of, basically just shutting down that Place's Void in conjunction with the AA. You're not going to have a lot of sustainability coming out from Geek Fam, at least not very effective sustain. And that is really just counteracted by Reality Rift strap. So it's looking good so far. Overall, the drafts are looking a lot tighter, especially for Geek Fam this time around. I would have to say, overall, I probably still favor Reality Rift here. I think the fact that they're not beholden to these big cooldowns on ultimates means that they're going to be able to apply that pressure much faster Whereas Geek Fam, once that Chronosphere is expended, they might have to take a step back and try to buy some space before taking the fight again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Geek Fam will see if they can revolve around that chrono
10
timing well
seconds
enough.
remaining.
Of course, RR, like you said, don't have to. They have very low
5
cooldowns and they can be
remaining.
much more aggressive than what Geek Fam can be. But only time will tell. Of course, it's going to be very important for both sides to get these laning stages going well for themselves. Surprisingly enough, I mean, I say surprisingly, it's not too surprising, but Cuckoo is playing the offlane Venomancer. And I was mentioning to you before, we saw yesterday that the Venomancers that were being picked up were mostly being run in the jungle, and they were allowing the a solo offlane, which was, not that effective. I'm not gonna lie, but perhaps Geek Fam could pull it off. We'll see if Cuckoo does just go into the jungle or whether he will just remain in the lane instead.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. You do have that option to fall back to if the lane goes rough. Although I think overall you'd want to balance both. You'd want to clear out the camps while the wave is pushed out, pop back in when it's in your favor, just maximize your farm that way. It's going to be hard to counteract, but Venomancer himself isn't the tankiest hero. You can punish that quite well as well if you play aggressively.
Oh, game number 2. About to begin between Geek Fam and Reality Rift. Of course, this is the second game of the BO2, and we, of course, in true SCA fashion, John, it wouldn't be
yes.
a Southeast Asian game without a pause going on straight off the bat. This, of course, gives us, the hard-working casters, a chance to have a little bit of a break.
Certainly does, Mike. Does look like a microphone issue, so it's not internet this time around. They do just force the disconnect to try to fix that, but, internet in Southeast Asia, Mike, not really good. I have to say, today has been a bad day for me in terms of the net. It's just typical PLDT things. Anyone from the Philippines knows what I'm talking about. It's just pretty atrocious.
Are you trying to tell an Australian person that you have bad internet, John? And
At
are you
least
expecting
have,
pity?
at least you guys have some semblance of an internet. Ours is held together by tape and string,
I guess ours is kind of held together by false promises from our government, John. I'd prefer the tape and string, I'll be honest. We are going to have a go. Dubu. Yep, the go-ahead's there. Should be unpausing very, very soon. So again, like we talked about, these laning stages between both teams is going to be very, very important. And, well, an immediate smoke will come out from Geek Fam. They might want to get some vision down very, very early. I think they understand that Reality Rift, they can be so much more aggressive in these early stages of the game. So rather than just being in the blind or in the dark, rather they put up those early wards, ensure they can't get ganked up too easily, and perhaps make some rotations themselves early on.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things they have to watch out for. If they can apply that lane pressure, slow down Reality Rift's game, dictate the pace themselves, I think Geek Fam is going to be setting themselves up for a nice game too. They certainly have the heroes to do that. They have a lot greater presence with these guys. Although, if they give away some of that momentum, you're going to be playing around a fairly long Chronosphere cooldown, and that just gives RR a big window to play around in. So it really depends on how these first few minutes go, whether or not you're going to be finding the farm you want with your Venomancer and your Void, and if you can escalate to those level 6s quite fast. If not, well, RR might just do what they did in Game 1 once again.
Perhaps. Both teams just posturing around those banner rune spots. The Raven will find out the hard way that Hustler is already there with KYXY. And you'll see the Elder Titan being played by Dubu coming in, trying to force Alacrity out of there. KYXY will man up and will swipe the banner rune away from the side of Geek Fam. That'll mean a 3-for-1 trade, so already a very early advantage for this Radiant side.
Yeah, a nice little gold spike for them, and they do manage to give themselves a nice little start. Every single piece of gold does count, especially since both sides will be trading quite hard. That is just their tendency. It should be interesting to see how this mid lane shapes up. Necrophos, it's a hero that got a bit of a buff in the last patch, in the most recent patch. but laning up against something like the Kunkka is going to be a bit of a hard time. It's not like the Shadow Fiend a while ago. It is just a bit trickier to clear out these waves, so we'll see just how well Alacrity can hold up this time around.
Certainly. KYXY going for a bit of a creep pull. It's like bot lane. We might have the first blood nuts. Yeah, he goes down, and Cuckoo will go down as well. The Cuckoo does manage to find nuts just beforehand. He'll get the XP and the bonus gold. So a nice little start for Geek Fam. You do see the punishment from RR immediately, but of course the Dire side is going to be much happier about that.
Definitely so. Just that first blood gold is enough to give Cuckoo at least the Windlace. So it's not going to be as hard for him to run away from any aggressive posturing that RR throws out. You're still not going to be too happy that you did lose your core for a support there, but at the very least, the first blood gold does make up for it.
Just looking at that mid lane, Ryoya up against Alacrity. This is not the easiest of lanes for a Kunkka. Alacrity can just sustain the lane so easily, although that's a lot of tier 1 damage, Alacrity. But he'll Fairy Fire up, he'll be okay.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And as I was saying, Ryoya should have a difficult time as long as Alacrity doesn't dive the tier 1 like that.
Is under attack.
Definitely so. It's just going to be that much harder to sustain against Necros. Ryoya's already forced to pop his salve. He's already down to 1 tango, so as long as Alacrity plays around the Tidebringer timings of Ryoya, you should see Alacrity start to pull away here.
Just up the top, KYXY again trying to go for a creep pull. Dubu is going to try and stop him and at least punish him a bit, but KYXY is just such a tanky Legion commander. He can just kind of turn around, hope for the moment of courage to proc. It looks like he will be able to successfully pull this wave over though. Dubu cannot stop him. Because I just keep looking back to that mid lane where Ryoya, every time I look at him, he's just so low in HP. He'll salve up, but that's the last amount of regen he had. Does have some tangos queued up as well as the bottle, but just seems like he's going to be spending so much more gold just trying to get that regen back up.
Yeah, it's just really hard to sustain here. Alacrity, he's really managing to use his positioning quite well. We're not seeing Ryoya dish as much damage as he'd want to with a Tidebringer.
Oh, Hustler does find the kill onto Hustler, but Zephyr goes down to the Diabolic Edict. It was a battle of the supports, but Cuckoo interrupted John. And, well, with the Gale, he does find the kill onto the Leshrac just before his own Rubik goes down.
Yeah, it's just aggression all over right now. And that bot lane is just going to be a bit rough, right? Even if you manage to pressure Cuckoo out, you're going to have to watch out of when he does decide to rotate in the jungle. Although he does go for Venomous Gale, so it's a 1-2 build. Looks like he wants to focus on trying to slow down Drew's Sven, which is fair enough, you know, as a ranged core with all these DOTs and the magic damage, Sven isn't as tanky as you'd expect.
That Poison Sting is just so annoying to play up against. He just keeps ticking you down with that dot damage though. Stormhammer will come out. They are going to make just haste, but Cuckoo will be able to walk away for now as Hustler needs to get the hell out of there. Of course, you saw the rotation there from Dubu as well at the perfect time. Geek Fam, they will reset with some salves. A very good lift coming out from Zephyr, just ensuring that Hustler couldn't follow up with the Split Earth. We have a tri-lane versus tri-lane situation now. It does allow Raven, though, to basically free farm the top lane. Like, KYXY is not going to be able to shut this Void down at all. So Raven should farm very, very well.
Yeah, that's a scary proposition for RR, because we have seen Raven go with runaway starts on the Void, and he does make it work out quite well. He makes that investment work well for his team, and it does look like he will hit those good timings this time around. He is going to go for the treads into the Midas, and that's just going to ensure him a good start here.
Cuckoo will end up going down to the bot lane. Dubu almost stopping that kill, but wasn't quite there. Zephyr looks to chase. They are going after the bounty runes now, but again, RR are going to find a 3-for-1 trade on those bounties. In fact, they might find Dubu on the Elder Titan. And do they? No, not quite. He will survive on 15 HP. Cuckoo will return back into the lane as the Venomancer. But this tri-lane so far does seem to suit RR much more.
It definitely does. You're really not getting too much out of this as Geek Fam so far, and you're slowing down the EXP progression of every single hero, especially that Venomancer. He wants his fast levels, he wants to be able to get that damage spike from hitting level 6 with all his spells up, and he's just not hitting that timing too well. You've also starved out your Rubik and your Elder Titan by rotating in, so these heroes are not going to have that great laning presence you'd expect.
Chrono top lane, it'll be the first one of the game. Raven, he just wanted to secure the kill onto KYXY. Doesn't want to play any games, and he just needs to hit him once and get a bash proc as well to find that kill. That's a Chrono on cooldown, but like you talked about in the draft phase, Raven loves to do this. He just never allows that Chrono to be off cooldown at all.
Yeah, this is exactly what you want to see from Raven. This is exactly how he plays this Void. Just always using that spell, even if it's just one hero, even if it's a guaranteed kill without it anyway. He doesn't waste any time, just maximize it, because if you don't use it, well, it's just sitting there, and you have to maximize it. Especially now that it's up to 160 seconds on cooldown. You really want to make sure that spell is worthwhile.
Zephyr getting chased down bot lane now. Hustler. In fact, they'll go after Cuckoo instead. Cuckoo, a bit of a sitting duck. The cold feet is not going to proc, but they got the split earth in time. Lift was not there fast enough, and Cuckoo has no way out. They may find a trade, or maybe they won't. Zephyr, in fact, no, he'll find two of them with the Fade Bolt, and now trying to outrun. He'll salve up. He'll survive another day. It looks like he will outrun Nutso. No, the cold feet will be there. Still, I'm not sure who that goes in favor of. In fact, looking at the gold change, it looks like Geek Fam do win out.
Oh. That is just an explosive exchange, but that's exactly what happens in these lanes when you throw so many heroes to them. It tends to go this way, and that does, in the end, favor Cuckoo. He does slow down this Ven just a bit, but it's still a good time here for RR. They still are slightly ahead with less than 1k net worth lead. 5-5 in the kill board. We still haven't seen Cuckoo amass that insane farm that we tend to see these Venomancers do. He is going for a much more aggressive laning build rather than a jungle push build. So he's just trying to slow down Drew, and it has worked out for the most part. Drew isn't having as good of a time as Raven is, but whether or not they've slowed him down enough is another question.
Well, the problem really is Alacrity on the Necrophos, who's top of the net worth board and doesn't seem to give any care in the world to the side of Geek Fam. He's going to go ahead and push in that T1 with Hustler, but here comes Ryoya with the X. Throws in the boat straight away onto the Leshrac, and it will connect Dubu. He'll be there with the follow-up stomp as well. Can they burst down this Leshrac? No, they definitely cannot. KYXY will be there with the heal to ensure his Leshrac survives. And so we sit at a 5-5. They do hold on to that mid T1 on the side of Geek Fam. But RR, they're certainly starting to apply that pressure.
They certainly are. I mean, that tower is really low now. 200 HP. The next time a creep wave is up close, it's pretty much gone as long as Hustle's around. There's no defending that. They do manage to buy some time for it, but it's really not going to be standing for long. We even see Nuts kind of positioning around the back, trying to set himself up there.
He might find Ryoya. He does soak a bit of XP off those stacks he's taking. Zephyr, not going to be happy about this. The cold feet will be there. Hustler, they won't be able to lock him down, but they got that T1 mid tower. That's all they came for. That's going to open up the map quite a bit for this Radiant side. Back Ryoya now will get spotted out by Hustler on the Leshrac. He continues to farm. Not too concerned about this. Hustler looking for a way in. He does steal one creep away and will actually get another one as well.
Huh.
Meanwhile though, bot lane, looks like Dubu's been caught out. Drew is just solo killing off this Elder Titan, and with that God Strength, it really is not much of a problem. So that'll make it a 6-5 now, and unlike the Kunkka on the other side of the map, Drew is freely farming that jungle.
Yeah, he's had a good time there. He's gotten a nice drop for himself as well. That broom handle gonna help him down in any sort of chase in a fight, so just really lucky so far for RR with how it's been going so far.
Of course, there was a kill up top as well, though. KYXY did end up going down. Raven, again, committing that chrono as soon as it was off cooldown. And so that's the second one of the game. Straight onto that Legion Commander. Raven does have the Midas up now as well. Only problem is that Midas isn't going to help in defending this T1 tower that's being taken down by Hustler. fortified already. Looks like slowly but surely they'll tick away at this T1. They should just go down.
Dire's top tower.
Again, that's the weakness of this draft from Geek Fam. Whenever that Chronosphere is down,
Dire's top tower
they just can't
has
take these
fallen.
fights. At this point in the game especially, you're relying on the control that the Void brings, and without it, you just have to give these towers up. For RR, their downtime is so low, because they're not really riding off the back of these big ults, so they're going to be able to apply some pressure on this tier 2 as well. Whether or not Geek Fam is going to respond to that slight push is another question.
See the side of RR posturing around that dire side jungle. They know that Raven's farming the jungle, they just don't really have a way to close the gap on him right now. Nuts though, he's going to stick around, waiting for an Observer Ward to be dropped so he can just get the D Ward off. Won't be so lucky though. Meanwhile, Ryoya decides to plant a mango tree by the Roshan pit. Not sure what the point of that is, but I suppose having mangoes on the floor isn't such a bad thing.
It's the vision. You get nice free vision from that item, so they've got pretty good control over that Roche pit just from having that jungle drop, which is pretty wild. I mean, it's looking right in. That's a lot that can work out in your favor, especially if you lose control in that area.
What about the mangoes, John?
It's fine.
He came back for it, never mind.
Oh.
He got it.
You gotta have your mango.
Asfarg wouldn't have been happy about that had it been left alone. It's nuts. Interesting positioning from him right now. He's just holding on to that outpost. Not really sure what he's going to get done by himself, but you could see a rotation come in from RR to help him out. In fact, it looks like that is exactly what's happening. Hustler, he'll rotate up on the Lesh. No Venom wards. Should be able to scout him out before he closes the gap. Nuts now being scouted out. Cuckoo though, Ice Blast will connect. Cold Feet is there though. Cuckoo will be able to outrun it. Still Hustler. Poison Nova will come. Hustler, can you find the Split Earth? Should be able to though. He pops the Edict first. And Cuckoo has been slowed down enough. In fact, no, he hasn't. He's still outrunning them. Hustler, which way are you going? Cuckoo's looked determined now. The Gale comes up, but no. He may have overextended. No, in fact, he hasn't. He'll find both of them. Oh, Cuckoo, how dare you, sir?
Oh man, that was some wild juking. I think RR, they needed to commit harder to that kill if they wanted it, but they just couldn't find the Venmancer in time. And they were running around in the trees, copying a lot of DOTs. In the end, that really just doesn't pay off.
Bot lane though, X-Boat is going to be there on Alacrity. He's a big target to go after. Ghost Shroud will not come out yet, but there it is. He's still sustaining throughout all this. In fact, he's healing up, but here comes Raven.
Oh.
He finds a massive Chrono onto 2. They'll get Alacrity. They'll find KYXY. Nuts came in to try and help out, but it looks like he screwed himself over. They get the X-Torrent, and he's certainly going down as well. In Geek Fam, it kind of looked a bit wonky at the start, John, but it looks like they have found their momentum.
Yeah, that's exactly how they should have played game one. Just being the aggressors, finding the fights they want, forcing RR to respond to them. It is paying off quite big here. It is also down to Raven just playing excellently on this Void. Every time that Chrono's off, he's on the map trying to find a kill. And they do manage to get at least a tier 1 down bot off the back of that fight as well.
Zephyr going after Hustler, actually doing a fair bit of damage with that stolen Cold Feet, and they just burst him down. But here comes Drew trying to find the trade. Zephyr, he will go. Cuckoo, you've got to try and juke and jive out of this one. Drew, Stomp will not actually connect. And Drew's just going to make a run for it now. Can they lock him down? The X, he's just barely out of range. Drew is so close yet so far.
Oh.
There's the X, he finally got it into the boat as well. Drew still looking fairly healthy right now, but here comes Raven. Dubu trying to find a block. It looks like Drew's still managing to survive somehow. KYXY just keeping him alive throughout all this, and Geek Fam will not find the kill.
Oh, that was pretty scary for Drew. In the end, he does manage to get away with his life. Rather unfortunate that Geek Fam just couldn't get that control. But RR is going to be counting their lucky stars there. They barely managed to get out their core, and that does keep the game fairly even, 7-12, but just a 1k lead for Geek Fam. Still a much better looking Geek Fam compared to game 1. They're still applying that pressure on their own terms. They've gotten an even amount of control on the map, and they're just really working this draft a bit better than they did in game 1. So as long as they keep this momentum up, it should be easier for Geek Fam to go into it. We haven't even seen Raven with any sort of big items yet. He still just has the Treads and Midas. So he has a lot of room to grow.
He certainly does, John. Still with that Maelstrom up, it will escalate his farm quite a bit. Sven, Drew just trying to finish up that Sergeant Yasha, which was buffed so much in this new patch. So much value in that Sergeant Yasha now. So RR gonna start pushing in that top lane. Looks like they have not really lost confidence in themselves quite yet, but Geek Fam are setting up for another team fight. They have the Chrono up once again, and you know he doesn't want it on cooldown. He will jump in at that tier 2 tower, Hustler. He'll stick around for now, but the X does come out, and the bashes fly out from Raven as well. They'll find one. The rest of RR are just going to back off to safety once again.
Yeah, and the response from Geek Fam is much more convincing this time. They did waste the smoke for that. They didn't find any big kills, but they are still applying that pressure much better. We are still at 7-13 with a 1k lead for Geek Fam. Right now, Reality Rift, it does look like they're taking a step back. They're trying to find that farm up. They want to get a couple of items on KY, XY, and Drew before they're confident enough in these fights, which is fair enough. You don't really have anything big yet on either of these heroes. You need some time to try to farm up. That does mean Alacrity is going to be active on the map, and that is going to stall his own farm. Like, he's going to be stuck at the Veil and Mechanism for a fair bit. It's going to be a while until he finds anything else beyond his Guardian Greaves, which are just about 400 gold away.
Mid lane. Alacrity won't get caught out by Zephyr. Be the Death Pulse being given away to the Rubik. Looks like Geek Fam are more than happy to also play this farm game for a bit. I mean, they've got a Void after all. No reason to force any fight if you don't have to. But mid lane, there is a fight that has been forced. In fact, they will find Dubu on the Elder Titan. Nice pick up there by the side of RR. Can they find anything else out of this? They are heading towards that Roshan pit, and yeah, they're going for it. KYXY, he picks up a regen rune and gets started straight away. The mango tree is still there, though.
Oh yeah, they see it.
With that, they have to back off.
That is just kind of busted. I mean, free vision into the Roche like that, and most people won't suspect it. That's just kind of busted.
We'll talk to Ice Frog later, John, about this mango balance.
Radiant are scanning.
Top lane, though, Cuckoo.
Radiant's middle tower.
There is a smoke. Cuckoo is going to avoid it for now. Hustler understands he's around somewhere. The Ice Blast will not scout him out, and he will manage the TP. That's going to be a fair amount of time wasted for the side of RR. And with that, Geek Fam do understand that the top lane is probably going to get pushed in now. They'll be ready for a team fight again. They still have the Chrono up and ready to go.
Yeah, the one issue with that is that Raven is on bot lane. He doesn't have a TP. So if they go for this defense, they're not going to have the Void.
That's not good. Cuckoo slowing down Hustler, just keeping vision on him. Raven is running his way up top. In fact, no, he'll just start farming the jungle instead. Hustler so down low, the stomp, they'll use him up. Hustler somehow still alive throughout all this, but he runs into the Venom wards. He's going to try and fight this out. It will be to no avail though. Zephyr will go ahead and pick up the kill, and that is his Blink Dagger now on the Rubik.
Yeah, that's a scary time. We've seen Zephyr do so much work on his hero. Now that he has the Blink, it's going to be much easier for him to get a lot of work done. I mean, he stole the Sight earlier on, so they have that tool available for this next fight as well.
Bounty Runes, 20 minutes in. There will be a Stormhammer flying out, but there's the X-Boat from Ryoya. It will connect on the Spinner. Now the Stomp Jewel, though, is going to be on Cuckoo. He couldn't get the Poison Sting off. In fact, never mind, he did. And there's Raven. He gets the 3-man Chrono. Fade Bolt through it all as well. He needs more damage. The Reaper Scythe Cuckoo, he will eventually drop. KYXY will do the same, though. Now Alacrity, he's been caught out. He's got nowhere to go except down, and that is exactly where he does go. In fact, where is that dual Zephyr? He's still some damage for himself. He found nuts.
Oh,
with that, John, a 4-for-1 trade and 18 dual damage.
Yeah, that's 2 ultimates coming out from Zephyr. He got the sight off earlier on. He gets the duel off as well. And just that blink, we talked about it right as it came out. With this blink, Zephyr is just going to be absolutely hard to deal with.
Hustler. Lift will be there, but he got the Split Earth Pulse Nova off. Now the Pulse Nova is stolen, but that's not what he wanted, and Zephyr should go down. Dupu does get a stomp off, but he needs some help. He's going to keep playing around with this Lash. Well, here comes Raven, but he may lose his own life in the process, though no Hustler. He hasn't found it yet, and, well, looks like he is going to be slowed down by Raven, and he does go down, and now Nuts actually ensnares the Void up, but Cuckoo comes in as well to try and help out. The AA should eventually just go down, but never mind. Alacrity's here now with the Arcane, or excuse me, the Guardian Greaves. Still Cuckoo, just keeping him slowed up. Alacrity will not allow his teammate to die.
Yeah, that's just obnoxious from Cuckoo. And just the amount of damage he can pump into a solo support is... The painful part is that it goes really slow. Like, if you're not going to get back up, you're just going to die a painful, slow death. Fortunately, he did have Alacrity, but they still did lose out in that trade. Again, Geek Fam is just playing really well right now. They're applying that pressure they want. They've got really good control on the map. They've got the farm that they want up and running. They're slowly but surely building up here, and it's telling when you kill a Rubik and get 600 gold. That's how much Zephyr was worth. And that's how rough this game is going for RR right now. It's just a 6k lead for Geek Fam, but it feels like a lot more than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically been Geek Fam's way most of the game. Only slight net worth leads for RR earlier on, but Geek Fam eventually just took over. Win probability right now sitting at 77% the way of Geek Fam, 23 the way of RR. This dire side is not slowing down at all. Raven has the Vampire Fangs up, has his BKB up, and he's going straight into a Lincoln Sphere after that. So he does not want to be disrupted at all within these team fights. So a bit more coordination will be necessary from RR to at least break that Lincoln's first before you try for the duel or the Reaper Scythe. Now the mid-tier 1. Fortification will be forced. There's no real rotations coming in though, apart from Hustler. They will let it go down.
Yeah, again, we're seeing RR still take that step back. They don't want to overextend in these fights. They just want to build up. There is still a considerable gap between them. And you have some pretty good farm in Drew. He is behind even a Venomancer there. So it's not the greatest spot to be in. They've got a lot more they need before these fights are going to be much more even.
Oh, Drew. Zephyr, they're smoked up, though Drew hiding, though Zephyr knows he's there and he gets the lift off. Ryoyo now, X-Boat is going to be there. He pops the God Strength, but is it going to be enough? In fact, never mind, it was the War Cry. Drew probably understands he's dead, but he's going to try and make a run for it. And so far, so good. He's actually outrunning them. Raven has the Chrono. He slows him down. Doesn't really want to commit the Chrono for one, and he will not. They will find the kill thanks to Zephyr on the Rubik. Meanwhile, top Cuckoo was going after the AA. Didn't commit the Poison Nova. We'll just allow him to TP up. The Geek Fam, they will go into the Roshan pit now.
Yeah, and Reality Rift, they really don't have vision on the map to even spot that out. In fact, they don't have vision on the map, period. So it's a rough time for them. Even if they knew this was happening, it's going to be hard to fight into a Chronosphere of all things. So it looks like it is going to be a free Roche going the way of Geek Fam here.
John, just casually, how long do mango trees live? I mean, really, this mango tree is still here giving mangoes out.
Oh, they live a long time.
Okay, well, XY looking to go in, but the BKB's popped by Raven. They at least stole the Roshan kill. But the rest of Geek Fam are out of there, and in fact, Zephyr finds Hustler down at the bot lane with Cuckoo. They do end up binding the Leshrac while all that was happening. But back to the main point. When does this mango tree die?
In-game, it doesn't die. It's there until you chop it off.
Okay, well, XY gonna be caught out. Raven has the chrono if it's required. It seems like it will not be required though. And KOXY understands he's just dead. And this is beginning to get scarier and scarier for Reality Rift, John. They're 7k behind now. And it just seems like no team fights are going their way. And this is without the Void Ultimate being used.
Yeah, it's a scary spot to be in for RR. They did manage to blow the 10-second BKBs from Geek Fam, so you don't have that long of invulnerability. I mean, it's still 9 seconds. That's still a long time. They lose their tier 2. Fortunately, Geek Fam does have to pull back here, but the map is shrinking here for Reality Rift, and they're not quite where they want to be yet. Drew still trying to farm up his own BKB. We don't have any dual damage up on our Legion Commander as well, so it's been a slow start here for RR. It does look like Geek Fam has definitely gotten a grip in this game. They're running a draft they're much more comfy with and much more familiar with, and it's being put to great effect here.
Are they planning for a smoke? Looks like they are.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
They know exactly where Geek Fam are. Raven gonna cop an Ice Blast. Still though, not gonna back off this tier 2. He's still got an Aegis available just in case. They will happily take it for free.
Radiant's bottom tower
Do you pursue for more though if you're Geek Fam? It looks like they will hold out for a bit.
Man, that's a lot of tier 3 items on Geek Fam. They've already got, I believe, yeah, the Orb of Destruction up on Ryoya, so you've got a good amount of minus armor and slow. You've got the Dragon Scale on him as well, so there's some burn damage that could go on the tower. And then you've also got a lot more. It's just a lot right now falling into Geek Fam's favor, just from the jungle as well. So the odds are stacked up against Reality Rift. They are trying to get the split push going with Hustler. Issue is when you split push against a Veno, it's hard. He just drops wards and your push just kind of stops.
Well, he's gonna keep trying. AYXY is there and just kind of hoping that someone pops out and tries to defend this wave, but like you said, the Veno wards are gonna be enough. Both teams just getting set up for those outposts. Currently, Geek Fam, they will control 2 of them. It's just going to allow them to get so much more bonus XP. Not to mention, of course, another TP location and vision. Looks like they've given the Helm of the Undying to Zephyr on the Rubik. Be interesting to see what he could do with that added time after he dies.
Oh, he can do a lot, for sure. I mean, we've seen what he can do in these fights. Now he can go in without worrying about dying straight up. He's got 5 seconds to do so much more, and those 5 seconds are enough for a hero like Rubik.
Apparently, KYXY has a repair kit, John, and it restores building HP. Yeah, right.
Sweet. Yeah,
Fair
they're gonna need that, because they have lost a lot of ground. You're gonna need to repair these towers at some point.
Can't repair towers if they're not there, John.
Oh,
Geek
boy.
Fam. They're grouping up top lane. They spot out Nuts. It should be a very easy kill onto that AA, and that is exactly what it's going to be. Side of RR just trying to get away from that location. Don't give any more kills away to the side of Geek Fam, though. Hustler does spot out Cuckoo, but they're fighting over those outposts. Raven will come in as well. It looks like Hustler hasn't timed this perfectly as he would have hoped, and he does give another kill away. Meanwhile, top lane once again, Ryoya being chased down. Dubi, he'll get a nice stop off onto the Sven, but they are still chasing this Kunkka. So can they find him, though? It looks like Drew will go after Dubu instead, get the Elder Titan first. Now, who do you go for? It looks like Cuckoo will be the target, but they can't get in range to actually duel him up yet. Still Cuckoo running, blinks away. Stormhammer will come out, but Zephyr is there to help and throws another Stormhammer around. Alacrity now, Reaper's side will get it off, but Cuckoo, he does use the Poison Nova. Somehow still alive throughout this Cuckoo. He'll use up now. KYXY though, he is there with the duel this time around and will finally find the kill, but they've left Drew alone. Is there enough damage to take down this Sven? Probably not, as Ryoya is the only real core there. Though as I say that, Raven has made his way up and has the Chrono available. Ghost Shroud will be there from Alacrity. It looks like the Chrono won't be necessary, as they will find another kill. And it looked like a very even trade between the two. In fact, it was just a 2-for-2 trade. And RR really didn't get as much as you would have hoped out of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a slight win. You managed to get away with your Sven. He does find a couple of really key kills to push him up there. Still not the game-changing fight you'd expect. In fact, Drew's in a rough spot right now.
Yeah, gets lifted up by Zephyr. Stormhammer is there from Zephyr as well. Dubu gonna try and hold him down, but Drew does have support coming in. Won't find the stomp. Raven, though, is there with the Chrono, but Drew is waiting. Looks like they'll back off for a bit. Uh-oh, Ryoya's got the Aghanim Scepter, John. Here we go. The Torrent Storm is now available, ladies and gentlemen. This should be a bit of fun.
Oh, man. Oh, that's gonna be interesting to see.
It's a pretty ridiculous spell, to say the least. And with the Chrono as well, I mean, having the Torrent Storm and the Chrono, as even the Stomp from the Elder Titan could be devastating. It's just, there's a lot of things happening in an AoE that RR have to think about.
Yeah, and it combines
BKBs.
really well. It combines really well with the Chronosphere as well, right? They're all stuck in a static area. You're going to be spawning torrents every, what, 0.25 seconds, if I read that Ags right? Yeah. So that's just kind of annoying, to say the least.
Speaking of annoying, Hustler, he's still trying to run out this top lane, but there would be an immediate rotation. Cuckoo doesn't find the Gale on Hustler. Just due to that split push, Hustler will be able to stop that mid-tier 2 from being pushed in too far by the side of Geek fam. Looks like Hustler isn't backing off though. Him and KYXY looking for another target. They know Cuckoo's around somewhere. Cuckoo, did he show himself? Looks like it won't matter. He does manage to get away. Smoke will come out from Geek fam. I believe that may have been spotted by the Observer Ward up on this high ground. Just barely, perhaps. RR though, are waiting. Smoke does break by Alacrity. Top lane, Hustler getting caught out by Cuckoo. KYXY is still around the area, but here comes Raven hoping for a bash, and he does get it. Hustler has no way out, he's going down. KYXY will just immediately TP out, but they'll go into the mid lane now. Cuckoo trying to set up onto Drew. Ice Blast won't connect. In fact, the Gale will be there. He's going back in now. Hex as well coming out. What are they going for? Torrent won't connect. Instead of trying for the team fight, Geek fam realize we'll just go for Roshan.
Again, no vision from RR to spot that one out entirely. So it's not going to be contested. Another free Roche going away of Geek fam.
Damn mango tree is still there dropping mangoes.
Oh yeah.
Dubu's just gonna walk past. He's had enough mangoes for one day.
I mean, they haven't chopped it. RR just hasn't managed to take the time to go out there.
I don't think they've seen it, John.
Yeah, no, I don't think they've walked in that area of the Roche pit, so they haven't seen that tree.
Raven, you up to, sir? I'm going to try and find Drew, but Drew will be in safety's range. So that tier 2 mid tower has been healed up by KYXY or whoever else is holding that that repair kit. That'll actually be the Ancient Apparition. Aghanim Scepter now up on Zephyr, so you've got that very, very low cooldown ultimate. Stealing a spell every 2 seconds. Daedalus will pop out on the Sven, so Drew now does actually have some form of real damage to pump out. Question is how the hell he's going to get in there and do it.
I mean, he didn't opt for something like the Blink, so his mobility is the biggest issue for RR right now. He just can't counterfight too well. He has to find a way to sneak into that fight, and to be fair, Blink would be very hard to use with a Venminator around. Still though, it just limits his options and how to approach these fights.
Raven just starting with the tier 3, still no real defense coming out from the side of RR. I imagine they probably will just back off after this tier 3 is gone, but maybe not. Because there are 3 heroes down at the bot lane. They're not really here to defend. So Raven, he'll go easily take down Nuts. And now they have TP back down, but they're going to lose the range racks as well. And I'd hate to sound like a broken record, but we still have the Chrono available on Raven.
Yeah, it's actually one of those rare moments where Raven has not needed to pop the spell. So the threat is always there.
Well, Lincoln's is broken. Drew will give the stun away.
Oh.
Now they found Hustler on the Leshrac. He was trying to sneak in behind him. Still God Strength being popped. Drew, he wants to find a target, but there's the Chrono.
Oh.
Straight off the bat. Stomp is there as well. Now Reaper's side that they'll take down Zephyr, but Drew is falling rather low. Now the Torrent Storm comes in. How do you fight into this, John? It's a water world
God.
right now. Hustler trying to outrun them. Raven, who do you go for? He'll try for Alacrity, the sight device is there. Ice Blast will fly out. Hustler is going to try and fight all 4 by himself, but that's not how Leshrac works anymore. And he will go down. Alacrity now being caught out by the Yules. Surrounded, he's just gone, and I think this game may be over. They're going to try and buy back. But I think Geek Fam will be the first team to take a game off RR throughout these close qualifiers.
Yeah, it does look that way. They do have buyback on their Legion Commander, but it's not flying out. That should be it. That definitely should be it. Bit rough for RR.
Sight device. They do find the Necrophos Alacrity. He can't go straight in time. No, in fact he can. Can he survive though? He'll break the Lincolns of the Void, but how do you defend this Ancient now? Alacrity gets X back into the boat. He goes down. There's only KYXY left, and that is definitely GG coming out. So Geek Fam will manage to tie out the series and finally break the winning streak of Reality Rift. And I dare say, John, apparently mango trees are pretty overpowered.
They are ridiculously overpowered. Just the fact that they never spotted it on the side just meant every single Roche fight was always going to work out in Geek Fam's favor. That was a major part. There was one point where RR did go to contest, but they just managed to get out safely. Geek Fam just saw that coming. And a lot of that, I wouldn't say this mango tree set the game for Geek Fam, but it definitely made it much easier than it should have been. And RR, they were on a good streak. They do meet their match at last from Geek Fam 1-1. That does give them 5 wins, 1 loss for Reality Rift, and that does solidly plant Geek Fam as number 2 in the groups.
Yeah, and so what we learned from this series, John, is mango trees are pretty darn good. So plant some trees in your pubs, and if you're playing Kunkka and you get an Aghanim Scepter, you've maybe just won the game, because that thing is ridiculous, that Torrent Storm. Apart from that, it is MLP Dota and John X Fire. John, we have plenty more series coming up today for these SEA closed qualifiers. The next one being TNC versus Adroit. And of course, TNC had a very rough day number 1. They look to make it a much better day number 2. And we'll see how they do perform up against Adroit, who were also having a fairly rough day 1. We'll see you guys very, very soon for that second series coming up in just a moment.